We're live on YouTube, live on Rumble. Good afternoon. Welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. I'm Xander.
Golden Loon.
And you viewer, thank you so much for coming in and watching. Today is Saturn's Day, aka Saturday, March 14th, 2026. Interesting that yesterday, was Friday the 13th. I mentioned that during yesterday's show. I should have mentioned that during the news show earlier, but two Friday the 13th, 3 months in the thing so far, in the year.
That was our second one. I don't remember the first one.
Before my birthday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. February 14th
right,
was on Saturday. Yeah. So, anyway, the show is about interesting and important events that occurred today throughout the annals of recorded history, starting with 1074, Battle of Mygorod. Dukes of Giza and Ladislas defeated their cousin Solomon, king of Hungary, forcing him to flee to Hungary's western borderland. 1489, the last queen of Cyprus, Catherine Cornaro, was forced to abdicate by Venice. Yeah, Venice. People think of Venice. You think of the beautiful city, history, romance. With the gondolas and everything. People don't realize that Venice was an economic and military powerhouse back in the day that bullied its neighbors.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
I could see where they'd be a powerhouse.
Yeah. On
the water.
Yeah, no, major, trade hub and everything. They capitalized the hell off of that. So 1592, Ultimate Pi Day. Here we go. On this day at 6:53 a.m., it was the largest correspondence between calendar dates and significant digits of pi since the introduction of the Julian calendar. So it was 3/14, 1592, 65358. Like whatever this means.
And then it keeps going.
Yeah, well, no. It was 314, you already know that about Pi Day. Yeah. But this happened in the year 1592, which are the next digits of pi.
Oh.
Is what I'm saying. So, so that's why it's Ultimate Pi Day, because every digit, so you have the date, the year, and the time, and all correspond precisely with the number of pi. Strangely.
Okay.
So 3/14, 1592, year, and it says 6:53 a.m., so 6:53, and I don't know what 50, or I guess 6:53 and 0.58 seconds or something. But yeah, the date, the year, and the time, if you put it in that order, up to however many digits this is, was the same as pi.
Wow.
That's wild, huh?
That is.
Yeah. 1644, what do we got here? England granted a patent to Providence plantations for what is now Rhode Island.
Oh.
The smallest state in the Union.
Yeah.
1663, according to his own account, Otto von Guericke completed his book Experimenta Nova ut Vocantur Magdeburgia de Vacu Saptio, detailing his experiments on vacuum and his discovery of electrostatic repulsion. Wow, that's incredible right there. I'm surprised I was able to fumble through that title, but
yeah, that was a toughie.
But vacuum and his discovery of electrostatic repulsion in the 1600s, they're talking about that.
Incredible.
1674, the Third Anglo-Dutch War, the Battle of Ronosvo resulted in the Dutch East India Company ship Wapen van Rotterdam being captured with a death toll of up to 300 Dutch crew and soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when I talked with you about Avak, the Dutch East India Company?
Yeah.
The monopoly and all that stuff?
Yeah.
That's these people.
Yeah.
1743, the first American town meeting was held in Boston's Faneuil Hall. I wonder if that's even still standing building. It has to be historical by now.
Boston was founded somewhere in the 1600s, I believe it said a day or two ago.
Yeah, I remember that. 1757, on board HMS Monarch, his own flagship, British Admiral John Byng was executed by firing squad for failing to come to aid of besieged British garrison. That's terrifying. This is a powerful image right here.
Ooh.
Yeah. He was executed by firing squad aboard HMS Monarch for breach of the Articles of War. Yikes. The admiral.
He didn't shoot holes in the boat.
Yeah, but that was an admiral.
Yeah.
An admiral. Man. 1780, during the American Revolutionary War, Spanish forces captured Fort Charlotte in Mobile, Alabama, the last British frontier post capable of threatening New Orleans. So, that was Spain protecting their, because, if they didn't, then while they had forces there, Britain, of course, would take advantage and try to claim that land while fighting the colonists. It's ruthless. 1793, Lieutenant Governor Simcoe of Upper Canada passed legislation for the first time against the importation of slaves after a black female slave forcibly transported to New York State to be sold. Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's a real shame that horrible things have to happen before we, learn lessons. I mean, I don't know why we can't just think about something, it's like, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? Like, humans are more of a reactionary than precautionary species, really.
To some degree, yeah.
Yeah. 1794, Eli Whitney patented the cotton gin, revolutionizing the cotton industry in the southern U.S. states. Yeah, we didn't speak about, but you brought up the cotton gin the other day, like a week or so ago.
That's right.
Now here we are. And this is a diagram here.
He used to be, anyways. I don't know if he is anymore today. Really a focal point in school history.
Yes, well, because
Eli Whitney, it's just a big name I know so well.
Because there was a massive misconception. Because, like, with the cotton gin, as we were told, that was the paving way towards emancipation and everything. People contributed that towards people viewing, slavery, not just blacks or anything, but viewing slavery and stuff not as an everyday thing, but it's like, hey, wait a minute, these are people. No, the cotton gin did not do anything for slavery. In fact, if anything, it made it worse. See, with the amount they can now process, and now makes a demand for more cotton. Yeah. So instead of like, oh, we don't need slaves to do this anymore. No, we need more slaves to pick. It did worse. So Eli Whitney, because I remember, because you say the same thing.
Wait a minute.
I was taught he was a national hero.
Whitney. That was a big economic boom for the
whole I'm not blaming him. No. What I'm saying is we were taught incorrectly. Like, you were taught from the sounds of things.
We didn't expose the downside. Is what they didn't do in school.
Well, no, they didn't think about the downside because everybody is always so focused on, oh, blah, blah, we got to push this, we got to push that. They don't stop and think, wait a minute, maybe we're pushing something, not fully in context. They don't think about it. It's because, the way you said it, I know for a fact, when I was taught, about the cotton gin and Eli Whitney, they were touting him as, like, some kind of, American hero. But many years later, a couple years ago, I saw a video exposing, that thing, and I'm like,
never thought about it.
Yeah, so some people would though say that he did it intentionally to.
Oh, I'm not going there.
I'm not going there either. But all this hatred towards whites, like, it is just, like, it pushes things like that. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But this is why people have got to really open their eyes, take a step back before starting to come to their own conclusions, and really soak up as much information about any topic that they can, and then think about it. But everybody's just so quick. 1801, Henry Addington became Prime Minister of the United Kingdom after his friend William Pitt the Younger resigned after being unable to persuade King George III of the need for Catholic emancipation. So speaking of slavery, it wasn't just blacks who were slaves, it wasn't just the Chinese, there were white slaves, the Irish, and this one, Catholic emancipation, that suggests that there's Catholic slaves.
Very well could be. I don't know. There were slaves all over the world.
So to think that it's like a skin color issue, an ethnic issue, is
it's not.
Such a small-minded way to think about the subject. Once again, open your mind to other aspects of the subject matter before you start flapping your yaps.
Unfortunately, for all the other slaves around the world through history, this country only enslaved blacks.
Not only. No. The very first person to own a slave.
Okay, one or two, fine.
No, not one or two. Like, the Irish were slaves for a while here. There were a decent amount of white slaves, and there were a lot of, Asian slaves. The Chinese built the railroads. It wasn't predominantly black. It was a good chunk black, but it was only like...
They weren't slaves. They were about as close, indentured maybe, servants, but they weren't slaves.
Yeah. No, everybody focuses on the black aspect. It wasn't all just blacks. It was everybody.
Let's just say predominantly then. Let's don't argue.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just trying to be precise with history. I'm not trying to argue. I'm just trying to be precise. You know. Yeah. 1812, the U.S. Congress authorized war bonds to finance the War of 1812. That makes sense. 1821, African Methodist Episcopal, I can't ever pronounce that word, Zion Church was founded in New York. Zionists? Yeah, I've heard of Zion and everything about that, and it's really not a good thing.
Zionist, yeah.
Well, no, not Zionist, but Zion is a city.
Oh.
And I'm not talking about the one in the Matrix. It was also named Zion, but for the same reason. I mean, Morpheus, Neo, Trinity. That's all has Christian annotations and everything. Zion is some kind of biblical something or other. I think it's some kind of evil city. I'm not sure, I don't know. 2 centuries ago, 1826, General Congress of South American States assembled in Panama. All right. 1864, Giannaccio Rossini's sacred work Petite Messe Solennelle premiered at his home in Paris, France. It was first performed by 12 singers, 2 pianists, like piano players. I'm letting them, so they don't think I'm saying a word, and a harmonium player in a mansion in Paris. What is a harmonium? Harmonium.
Harmonic?
But it says harmonium player. It's an instrument.
Yeah.
Huh. Harmonium. Okay, so it's like a keyboard of some kind.
Okay.
Oh, that's weird. It's like a. It looks like it has like a bellows here, like a not a harmonica, but a. What's the instrument Weird Al plays?
Yeah.
Accordion.
Accordion. Yeah.
It has a bellows thing, but it's a sit down.
Yeah.
It has a. You don't hold it.
You must pump it with your feet or something, or maybe it's small enough. I don't know where you pump it from.
I don't know. But this one. This is because I'm looking at this one and it looks like it fans out.
These look too modern for the era we're in right now.
Yeah, but they have different fannings. Like this one fans out like it's opening a book, but this one opens up like you're opening a folder.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. What else do we got here? 1875, Bedřich Methodist Symphonic Opera Vyšehrad, the High Castle, premiered in Prague, Kingdom of Bohemia. It later became the first section of the Ma Vlas collection of tone poems. I don't know what that is, but it sounds important.
I have no clue.
I don't know. It sounds important, so I like to, as I say, this is about interesting and important events, on this calendar date. So, 1880, Salvation Army of England started work in the U.S. as Harry Hill's Variety Theater, or at Harry Hill's Variety Theater in New York City.
So they're working as a Salvation Army here, outside or something, would that be?
Apparently, the Salvation Army of England, and they came here.
Yeah. Outside the theater in New York.
Yeah.
Jeez, okay.
1896, Sutro Bass was Salvation Army, so it was like, a donation thing or whatever.
Yeah.
So, 1896, the Sutro Bass in San Francisco opened by Cliff House. It was closed on September 1st, 1952. The Sutro Bass, you remember these? I mean, you weren't around, but
I do remember. Yeah.
In '52, you were, but you were. Are you okay?
I wear them. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like you're dying there. But I'm going to image search this to find a couple more images. It was an amazing thing. I think, though, ultimately it was like an earthquake, because this is what it looks like now. Like, you can still see all of this. These are the foundations and all, the pools and everything. But before this, it looked like this. Well, actually, that's the house that was talking about. Yeah. You can kind of still see it. It's up here. I guess it modernized.
An earthquake or something?
I think it was ultimately an earthquake. But here's an artist renditioning. I mean, this was magnificent. Look at the size of that thing.
Quite a deal, yeah.
I would have loved to go there, but 1950s, I was well before my time. But they even had look at this. Look at the size of that indoor pool. Like that is, and they had like diving platforms. They had all this stuff up here in the rafters.
Yeah,
this
all
is
indoors.
amazing.
They need.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, 1899, German Ferdinand von Zeppelin received a U.S. patent for a navigable balloon, the invention of the Zeppelin, named after him.
Yeah.
1900, Dutch botanist Hugo de Vries rediscovered Gregor Mendel's laws of heredity and genetics. I'm going to have to look this up here. Yeah, it does. So let's see here. Gregor's laws of heredity and genetics. Mendelian inheritance. Let's see here. Let's look this up. Wikipedia. is a type of biological inheritance following the principles originally proposed by Augustinian friar, the Right Reverend Gregor Mendel, in 1865 and 66, rediscovered in 1900 by Hugo de Vries and Karl Korenz, and later popularized by William Baston. Its defining characteristic is heavy association with a singular gene. The principles were initially controversial when Mendel's theories were integrated with the Boveri-Sutton chromosome theory of inheritance by Thomas Hunt Morgan in 1915. They became the core of classical genetics. Ronald Fisher combined these ideas with the theory of natural selection in the 1930 book, The Genetical Theory of Natural Selection, putting evolution into a mathematical footing and forming the basis for population genetics within the modern evolutionary synthesis. It is incredibly significant.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm going to add this into the underbar section.
Do.
What is
yeah.
this?
It's just huge.
Genetics. Oops, there you go. Yep, that is now going to be down there after the live stream. 1901, Germany's Chancellor von Bülow declared that the agreement Germany signed with Great Britain in October of 1900 to restrain foreign aggression and maintain open trade does not apply to Manchuria. So he just wants to do whatever he wants over Manchuria.
They don't want anything in China going on. Is that it?
Yeah. Well, probably because of the Japanese. 1900, 1901. You know, this is about the time they started harassing Russia, so, and invading, you know, Korea and all that stuff. You know, like
when what you're saying is when Japan was getting aggressive, right?
Well, to their immediate neighbors.
Yeah.
You know, expansionism and everything. Well, like that was around the time because the Meiji Revolution was like in the 1890s or something like that. I think.
I don't
know. But that was when, because up until then in Japan, and you know, I have a feeling it's still in their culture to this day, but they're incredibly xenophobic and incredibly like isolationists. They believe that they're the higher species, as every people have gone, but like for the most part, Europe and whatnot has let go of such ideologies in more immediate times. I mean, in the 40s there was Nazism and all that stuff, that coincides with all this. But for the most part, the Asian countries still operate with that mentality. They hate each other. And this is, this whole thing that we're talking about, Japan knew that it would have to open its borders and start working with everybody else, because everybody is working with everybody else and advancing in technology, and Japan will get left behind and then ultimately get conquered. Yeah. So what they did was they opened themselves up, took all the technology from everybody, and then started conquering their neighbors. They did the exact thing that they feared would happen to them to everybody else. Okay. Just psychopaths. 901, Utah Governor Herbert Manning Wells vetoed a bill that would have erased restriction on polygamy. Yeah, those Mormons in Utah,
They believe in polygamy.
Yeah, well. 1903, first national bird reservation established in Sebastian, Florida. The Pelican Island National Wildlife Refuge, the first national wildlife refuge in the United States, was established by President Theodore Roosevelt as the Rough Rider. So,
yeah, okay.
Yeah. And actually, he told me to image search this, so because there are several images I wanted to use, but I'm trying to avoid too much of black and white images and whatnot. But here's the island. It's a little small and everything, but I have here Vero Beach, Florida, is home to the first national wildlife refuge in the United States, Pelican Island, yada yada. Established in 1903, this 5,400-acre sanctuary was designated by President Theodore Roosevelt to protect the region's diverse bird species. Today, it remains a vital habitat for migratory birds and a testament to the nation's commitment to conservation. So it's, for pelicans and various other wildlife. It appears that they have some kind of statue here.
Oh, yeah.
That might be Theodore Roosevelt. I'm not sure, because this looks like a picture of him or somebody, and he's there with a pelican, and this looks like this statue is based off of that picture or something like that. Because he's standing, he's in similar clothes.
I believe you're right.
1904, in a landmark case, Northern Securities Company versus the United States, the U.S. Supreme Court found the company had violated the Sherman Antitrust Act. First case in T. Roosevelt's trust-busting campaign. Good, we need to bring that back, going after these big companies and everything, just ruining the world and destroying governments, with their lobbying and all that stuff. We got to put a stop to it. 1907, by presidential order, Japanese laborers were excluded from entering the USA. That's an eyebrow raiser. Why? That's weird. I can't help but think that, it has to be some form of prejudice. 1907, that's well before World War II. Huh.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
That sure is, yeah.
Yeah. 1910, Lakeview Gusher, the largest U.S. oil well gusher near Bakersfield, California, vented into the atmosphere. Oh.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It took off. That was quite the squirt there.
That's what she said.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they have a couple images of it. Look out, I mean, it's not like reaching the ionosphere or anything.
No, but it keeps on going. Once it gets up there, it's going to go in.
Like it disperses and it gets carried away by the wind.
Get in the currents. Yeah.
You can see it's dissipating near the top and everything. So that's crazy. So.
Yeah.
What else do we got here? 1913, John D. Rockefeller gave $100 million to the Rockefeller Foundation. Oh, gee.
Jeez.
It sounds like a money laundering scheme to me.
In 1912 or whatever.
1913, yeah. No, these people. That's why I say these companies they are destructive, and they need to go. 1913 as well. South Africa's Supreme Court declared that marriages not celebrated according to Christian rites or not registered by the registrar of marriages are invalid. All Muslim and Hindu marriages are therefore declared invalid. Wow. Wow.
And that's in South Africa.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't have some kind of uprising. Or maybe they did.
Well, you don't know in 1913 how powerful the Muslim community was.
Well, and Hindu. I mean, but it's not just those communities. I mean, pretty sure back in 1913 people didn't give a shit about equality and all that stuff. They had other problems like starvation to worry about. World War I looming on the horizon. Just 1 year later, an outbreak. So there's a lot more problems than just like that. But it's just something like that happened today. Oh, people are gonna die. 1915, German cruiser Dresden scuttled off Mas Tierra in Chile, having been pursued by the Royal Navy after the Battle of Falkland Islands, with her engines worn out and virtually no coal. So they were just like, yeah, enough, They couldn't keep going. Yeah. 1918, the first concrete ship to cross the Atlantic, Faith, was launched in San Francisco. Now, this is not a depiction of that ship, but I just wanted to bring this up here. This is the inside of a hull. And these are all like, presumably rebar or the predecessor of. No, they're going to fill this with concrete. This is going to be a concrete ship. So like look at the shape. Now replace everything with wood. It's the inside of a hull. But instead of wood, they're making it out of rebar, much like you remember the guy who built our pool. Yeah. But make that into boat shape, like ship size. And then now they make the hull out of concrete, not wood. It is a concrete ship. Buoyancy.
Yeah.
Like as long as you displace more water.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, physics is awesome. I wanted to image search it because like.
You had a picture there for a second.
Well, I did, but I wanted to bring up these images here because this is you can't really tell that well. No, but this is a concrete ship. That's not wood. That's not steel. That is concrete. It's made out of rock. Here's a picture I had earlier. But that's crazy to think, a giant slab of concrete being able to float because of water displacement. Physics is amazing. 1920, in the second of the 1920 Schleswig plebiscites, about 80% of the population in Zone 2 voted to remain part of the Weimar Germany. 1923, German Supreme Court prohibited NSDAP, the National Socialist Democratic something party or whatever, the Nazis. The German Nazi Party. We also have U.S. President Warren G. Harding became the first president to pay taxes. All right.
Pay taxes.
To pay taxes.
Okay.
That makes you think about Trump and Hillary talking about you use like loopholes and so do you
Well, what I think this is referring to, taxes were implemented. He's the first president to be hit by that.
Maybe.
That's what I would take it as.
Maybe. Well, I mean, the IRS was founded in 1913. That was 10 years before that. So taxes were a thing, and we had taxes right after the American Revolution. By 1923,
we're talking about a president paying taxes, which we assume would be income taxes.
Huh. Well, whatever the case, you may be right. I don't know. I just,
that's just the way I took it. I'm not saying that's it.
I'm just surprised that, the president, if anybody is a citizen, it's a president, and a citizen must get taxed, I'm surprised it took that long.
We have to make money to be taxed, so not just be a citizen.
Well, you get paid for the position. Like, what is it, $100,000 a year or something to be president? Whatever it was.
$250,000.
I don't know. Anyway, 1 century ago, 1926, train in Costa Rica fell into the Rio Virela, killing 248 and injuring an additional 93 people. Yikes. This occurred between Heredia and Tebas. 1927, Pan American Airlines incorporated as a mail delivery and passenger service. And what's interesting, and this is the first time I've really noticed, this was added to the primary source. This was not in my research writing from years past.
Oh, really?
This was from last night. So it has been added to the primary source. 1931, first theater built for rear movie projection in New York City. Rear movie projection. Like, what, they project from the front beforehand? Or like, did they project from behind the screen somehow? Or how would that work? They need a translucent screen.
Well,
I don't think...
they could have it up front, and then everybody sitting behind it. Now they've taken it to the back and projected it out.
True.
I don't know what they were doing before. It would have to be something like that.
You know what's really wild is knowing that, like all those projectors, those aren't in schools anymore. If I go to like a grade school classroom or anything, like the TV on the moving stand, the projector, that
reel to reel.
that thing that you put the paper on or whatever to a different type of projector, thing. Like, I wonder if they even have, like, the big paper cutter thing. You know?
Yeah.
Like...
Do they even use paper?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I was there when they were transitioning from chalkboards to whiteboards, from chalk to pen,
I didn't know they
the
did
markers.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was happening while I was, I started with chalk.
Yeah.
And then somewhere, like it was, I ping-ponged between classes. This class had a chalkboard, this class had a whiteboard. And eventually by the time
you just erase the ink?
Yeah, it's some they're big fat markers like Sharpies, but but like they're on some like
to wipe off.
Some polished whiteboard thing. It's a sheen or something, and then you use an eraser, it just wipes off as well. There wasn't any chalkboards at all the last several years of my schooling. So I was there when it transitioned. It was wild.
I remember we had chalkboard monitors.
Chalkboard monitors.
Yeah, someone.
Oh yeah,
they
go
up and do the chalkboards. The chalkboards at the end of the day, and then
clean the erasers. Yeah. So, anyway, 1931 as well. Alam Ara, India's first talking film, was released. It's telling me the image search says the posters for it are pretty cool. And this is what got me into looking into Bollywood. We had a little conversation, which Lou and I here are thinking about starting a new show. Name still under development, but it's going to be like, a meme, a video, reaction, review type thing, and also exposing him to, to internet culture. And, he's, he knows of it and everything, but he's nowhere, to compare.
I'm still from the chalkboard area.
Yeah. But, look at all this poster art and stuff. This looks like a nice movie. So.
Yeah.
1933, U.S. Civilian Conservation Corps began tree conservation program. All right. 35, the 36 Folsom became the first line to use one-man streetcars in San Francisco. Oh, so 36 to Folsom. So it's 36th Street to Folsom Street or whatever it is. Yeah. So I was just reading it as a hyphenated name.
Oh.
So, but I wanted to image search this because, once again, I didn't want too many black and white images.
Right.
Because, this is what the thumbnail looks like now. And, with too many black and whites, it starts looking a little drab. So, but yeah, this is what the carts look like back in those times. I could have picked this one, but then it wouldn't be historically accurate.
No, that's way too new.
Unfortunately. 1936, Federal Register, the first magazine of the U.S. government, published its first issue. All right, let's, no, I do not. That was a large bomb. We'll get to that here in a minute. But, I want to show you, the Federal Register, like a government newspaper. No, that's as soon as you say government something, I'm scared.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that they're on government insurance. Like, do you know the company, Government Employee Insurance Company, GEICO, Geico?
Oh.
It is a government company. Everybody who has Geico insurance, they are a government stooge. They don't even realize it. And, like they ate into the propaganda with that stupid little lizard. So, 1937, Battle of the Century, U.S. comedians Fred Allen and Jack Benny met on radio during their feud.
What year is this?
37. 37. 1937.
Okay, yeah. And who was it again? The two guys?
Fred Allen and Jack Benny.
Fred Allen.
Yeah.
That's
Sounds
not what I'm
familiar.
but that's not what I'm thinking of.
Pope Pius XI published anti-Nazi encyclical Mit Brandender Sorge on the same year. What were you going to say about Fred Allen?
It's a different Allen I'm thinking of.
Okay.
As a comedian.
Oh. Alan Harper?
No.
1939, Nazi Germany dissolved Republic of Czechoslovakia. That's not good. But 39 as well, Slovakia declared independence under German pressure. Okay, so these are linked. I wasn't entirely sure. So yeah, there's Czechoslovakia, and then now we have the Czech Republic and Slovakia. Mm-hmm. So 1940, The Road to Singapore, directed by Victor Scherzinger, starring Bob Hope, Bing Crosby, and Dorothy Landau. First of 7 such films premiered. 7 such films. Like, was it a series or something? Like the Road to Singapore? Did it take them 7 movies to get to Singapore or something?
Yeah.
1940 as well.
I think I've seen portions of it, or I saw it many years ago, or yeah.
1940 as well. 27 people were killed with an additional 15 injuries when a truck full of migrant workers collided with a train outside McAllen, Texas. That's awful. They're just trying to do some jobs, man. They end up getting conked. 1941, Nazi occupiers of Holland forbade Jewish-owned companies. Yeah. A lot of similar things that happened to the Jews in the 1930s and 40s are happening to certain people today, If they're not the right color, they don't have the right beliefs, So, if they so happen to be conservative or Christian, things like that. 1942, Ann Miller became the first U.S. patient to be treated with penicillin under the care of Orvin Hess and John Bumstead. Yeah, so, yeah, penicillin. And I mentioned now, by 1942, this is when they treated a patient, but obviously, there were several years of trials and figuring it out. But penicillin, because everybody knows today that as penicillin as some wonder drug and everything, and everybody thinks that the instant we discovered it, because it was discovered on somebody's moldy food and something as the story goes or whatever, but that was a lot farther back than most people realize. It was actually, to my knowledge, during Operation Overlord D-Day, the invasion of France, during World War II, we had taken penicillin there, already knowing, of its, abilities and everything, but it didn't really become popular despite knowledge of it being around until after the amount of people it saved, after the battle. Not after the war, after the battle itself, D-Day. I'm not talking about World War II, I'm talking about D-Day. All the people, mowed down and everything on the beach landing. Yeah. The ones that survived with egregious injuries and everything, they were treated with penicillin. That's 2 years later. This is 42, what I just read. Operation Overlord being 44. And they treated them and they saved so many more lives than they actually thought they would be able to. And then that's what sparked it. But a lot of people have a misconception that as soon as we discovered it, it bloomed. No, it took like a good 5-10 years because we just didn't really care. And that's why I always the duality of man, it's really a sombering and sad thing, that we have technology but yet we don't really use it unless we use it in some kind of way to hurt each other or help ourselves if we get hurt. It's kind of sad.
I don't know the exact story, but around, I was going to say 52, but it wouldn't have been that soon, but I'm going to say maybe 54 or 55.
Mm-hmm.
When I had a big accident on my knee.
Oh yeah, the why you whimpering story?
Yeah. And I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I know penicillin was a really big deal.
Oh.
Me getting shots of penicillin.
Oh yeah, you could have gotten so infected.
Yeah.
And
your kneecap I can't tell you exposed. Why it was such a big deal, but it was.
Yeah. Well, absolutely.
So that's what?
Yeah.
10 years after that, 10, 12 years after that.
Yeah, roughly. So. 1943, during the Holocaust, the liquidation of the Krakow ghetto was completed. We've been talking about it over the past couple of days or so. 45, the Royal Air Force an RAF bomb cut railway link ham over ham. Yeah, the RAF dropped the Grand Slam bomb in action for the first time on a railway viaduct near Bielefeld, Germany. It's telling me to image search this, but I actually have an image right here. Look at the size of that. That's a guy. Look at the size. Grand Slam. Holy crap! That's the size of an airplane.
Look at them all lined up.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm gonna image search this because I posted a thing telling me to do so. I might have seen something I also wanted to show here. The Grand Slam bomb. Okay, maybe it was this one that I wanted to... Here we go. Look at what this bomb did. This is what I wanted to show. It's kind of small, but look. Like, that's you know, it's a whole bridge. It's just one bomb annihilated a bridge. I mean, bridge aren't really that bomb-proof, but still, like, that was a huge bomb. Oh, man, look at that. It's dropping it. Woo! Wow. Hello. Yikes. What else do we got here? 1948, Freedom Train arrived in San Francisco. I'd like to look up what the Freedom Train is, but we're over our half hour, so I got to speed this up here. 1950, the FBI started a public list of the 10 most wanted fugitives, so this is when that started. So 50,
most wanted.
Yep, 51 as well. During the Korean War, United Nations troops recaptured Seoul for the second time. All right. 54, Milwaukee Braves future home run king Hank Aaron homered in his debut exhibition game against the Boston Red Sox. Heck yeah, man. 1956, 50-year-old baseball pitching star Satchel Paige signed a contract to play for and manage the Birmingham Black Barons of the Negro National League. And it's really sad, that there was that segregation was a thing back there. Like, I would have, loved to know, like, he played with all, they all played together. He was, from what I hear...
He's now in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, good. He deserves to be. But Satchel Paige, like,
Did he play for a major league team just before he retired, or give him a year? Because the Dodgers came out here in '56, I believe. Maybe it's '58. There was no... it was either minor leagues or... Well, I don't know. It could have been... Negro leagues may have been going on.
Yeah. 60. He was 60 years old when he was in the Kansas City Athletics, if that's a major league.
That is.
Okay. He also pitched for the Miami Marlins.
Oh, that would not be major league then.
Okay, in 56.
Yeah, there is a Miami Marlins now, but it's relatively new compared to him.
Anyway, moving on up to 58, Recording Industry Association of America was created. All right. 58 as well, the RIAA certified the first gold record, Perry Como single, Catch a Falling Star.
Oh.
Yeah.
I remember it.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard it?
No, I have not.
Not that great, trust me.
Why did it get a gold record?
Well, it was great for the time, but I mean, it's not something you have to rush on.
Well, I'm not going to rush and listen to it, but I'm going to look it up here so I can listen to it after the show. Well, actually, I'll listen to it when we go to the gym.
There you go. That's all you need to know.
Okay. 58, South Africa's government prohibited the African National Congress, the ANC. It is part of apartheid and everything. 1960, Philadelphia center Wilt Chamberlain set NBA playoff record of 53 points in the Warriors' 132-112 win over Syracuse Nationals at Philadelphia Civic Center.
What kind of record did he set, though? It doesn't say.
NBA playoff record of 53 points.
Oh, playoff. Okay.
Yeah. 61, a U.S. AF-B-52 bomber crashed near Yuba City, California, while carrying nuclear weapons.
Oh.
Yikes. 62, disarmament conference opened in Geneva without France. That's weird. 62 as well, Red Wings forward Gordie Howe became the second player in NHL history to score 500 career goals in Detroit's 3-2 loss to New York Rangers. I wonder who was the first to score the 500. 63, musician Frank Zappa at the age of 22 taped an appearance for syndicated The Steve Allen Show. He and the host play bicycles as musical instruments along with the show's orchestra.
I've seen that.
Program aired later in the month.
Cool. It didn't work so well, but he was trying to say you can play music out of anything,
Yeah, I'm actually...
it was kind of cool.
I'm going to see if there's actually... Oh, hold on a second. Steve Allen Show, bicycle. Let's see if I can find anything. Oh, here it is.
There
okay.
it is.
So I'll watch this later on as well. What else do we got here in 1964? And you know what?
And you can see how straight-laced he was then.
Yeah. Straight lace. What do you mean?
Clean cut.
Oh.
Suit.
Oh, I have no idea what he looked like before or
Frank
after.
Zappa?
Yeah. I mean, I was born in '87. Like, it's way before my time. Come on.
True. I'm trying to think of what the name of his.
Oh, that's what. Okay.
What was the name of his group? Oh, jeez.
You know what? Let me look that up here. Telling me. Freak. It's not telling me any freaking names.
Band. Frank Zappa band.
The Monkees?
No.
Okay. Okay. What the hell? Okay, hold on a second. I'm getting confused. Frank Zappa band. I gotta look this up. Frank Zappa. Yeah. Okay, yada 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 yada. Sorry for taking so long, audience. Just give me. This is turning ridiculous. Why is it not telling me this?
I don't know. Yeah, something specific. This is what blows my mind. You don't get just really quick, simple answers. You get all this gobbledygook.
Early life and career. Okay. Whatever. Anyway, can somebody please tell us in the comment section? We gotta keep going here. 1964, Dallas, Texas. Jack Ruby was sentenced to the death for Lee Harvey Oswald's murder. Lee Harvey Oswald, being the assassin of John F. Kennedy. And it's really weird. Like, to my knowledge, every single assassin, or a successful assassin of a president, has himself, been killed in one way or another, relatively quick after the event, almost as if they're silencing somebody who was hired to kill them. It's very weird. There's a lot of fishy stuff behind assassins, like, because, the whole Lincoln thing, there was the Kennedy thing.
They're still not sure that he was ever assassinated. They think maybe now he was.
Well, he definitely was involved.
Oh.
But there was more than one shooter. The grassy knoll, whatever it was, the magic bullets.
I'm talking about Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, with John Wilkes Booth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, like, there's been some link to him, to some government. Like, somebody. It wasn't just the South that wanted him dead. It was his own government. So there's something fishy.
There was the whole thing, a bunch of hate stuff.
There's a lot of fishy stuff behind things,
A lot of hate like there is now.
Yep. 1965, Israeli cabinet approved diplomatic relations with West Germany. 67, JFK's body was moved temporarily, or from the temporary grave to a permanent memorial in the Arlington National Cemetery. I think we went and saw that. That's JFK, the Eternal Flame, right? Yeah, we saw it.
Yep.
68, CBS TV suspended Radio Free Europe free advertising because RFE doesn't make it clear it's sponsored by the CIA. Okay, that's interesting. 69, CBS TV renewed the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour for a third season. Is that?
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
Show.
1971, the Rolling.
You know who the Smothers Brothers are?
No.
Oh, okay. You gotta look them up. They did some funny stuff.
1971, the Rolling Stones left England for France in an attempt to escape taxes. Yeah, the Brits just love taxes for some reason. 72, Muddy Waters won his first Grammy Award for his album They Call Me Muddy Waters.
One of the all-time great blues.
Yep.
Singers.
For whatever reason, Bill Withers is in here too. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Oh, maybe it's that one. Hold on a second. Muddy Waters. 72.
That was Muddy Waters.
Yeah, that was. I'm just. Okay, here it is. Okay, it's two different articles. I see. Okay. 1972 as well. NBA Cincinnati Royals, plagued by poor home attendance, announced they are moving franchise to Kansas City.
Yeah.
Okay. 75, future U.S. Senator John McCain was released after spending over 5 years in a North Vietnamese prisoner of war camp.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. He could not raise his arms over his shoulders.
His head, yeah. Like, is that because he was always suspended or something? Or
I don't know what the injuries were, but whatever they did to him, they maybe broke his arms or broke his sockets. I don't know what they did. How he lived through that, you'll never know.
Yeah. 1976, U.S. jockey Bill Schumacher won his 7,000th race.
There's a great horse racer.
Yep. And 78, Marines terminated Moluccan action in Province House, 1 dead. I
don't know what that is.
I have no clue what the hell any of that means. If anybody can let us know,
I must have snoozed that day.
Interact in the comment section, please. 1978, the Israel Defense Force. This is why I'm always like this with this stuff. The Israel Defense Forces launched Operation Litani, a 7-day campaign to invade and occupy southern Lebanon. Invade and occupy. What part of defense has anything to do with invasion and occupation? It's all bullshit. They want to take over, right there.
Well,
You know?
as you say,
I don't know why people can't figure this out.
Organization, and I'm going to dispute how they've written this up.
Well, very true. So, 1979, fair enough. Hawker Siddeley Trident plane crashed into a factory near Beijing, China, killing at least 200. 79 as well. Aliyah Royal Jordanian Flight 600 crashed at Doha International Airport, killing 45 people. Why is that marked? Huh. I don't know why that was marked. Oh, because that's right. 2 plane crashes on the same day in the same year. I just remembered. Okay. So that's kind of wild. It almost seems like, I'm not sure, but it almost seems like plane crashes are seasonal. Because throughout the years of doing this, I've noticed that some areas of the year have more plane crashes than others.
Well,
I'm not sure if it's weather,
winter, but then that'd be something to lean on.
But I mean,
I don't know what you're seeing is more times than others.
But I mean, the saying goes, flying in planes is safe. Only 1 out of 100 planes crash, or whatever it is, or 1 out of 1,000. But then things like this, in China and in Doha, on the same day, same year, so it's not like they were years apart. It's the same time. Within a 24-hour period, 2 planes went down, and those are the 2 that are recorded. How many others? Maybe, I don't know. 1980, Polish airliner crash killed all 87 aboard. Here we go again. 22 are U.S. amateur boxers. So LLT Flight 7 crashed during final approach near Warsaw, Poland, killing 87 people, including a 14-man U.S. boxing team. Yikes.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're going to some event.
Yeah. And once again, how many times have, entire teams or a good chunk of teams died in these accidents and everything? And then
that's happened more than once.
And then we look at events like the day the music died.
Yeah.
There's that one story of, there's been several, presidents, world leaders just, mysteriously going down in an airplane or whatever. Kobe Bryant, all this stuff involving that. So, 1982, the South African government bombed the headquarters of the African National Congress in London. Wow. South Africa, in their, truly, bigoted apartheid, everything, they're attacking freaking London. What the hell are they doing? That really is legitimate hate. 83, OPEC cut oil prices for the first time in 23 years. Gee, thank you. 85, Michael Secretary of U.S. completed a 24-hour ride of 516 miles, 427 yards. I think we covered that yesterday as a bicycle thing. So
we may have.
Yeah.
We didn't know what it was.
It out. That's why I brought that up, because I don't want to look it up again.
What does that mean?
Yeah. 88, the Johnson South Reef skirmish. Chinese forces defeated Vietnamese forces in an altercation over control of one of the Spratly Islands. Here we go. China is acting like Japan, did back in the early 1900s. Now China's the big boy on the block, and they're bullying everybody else. 1991, English Court of Appeals freed Birmingham 6, who had been unjustly sentenced in August of 1975 to life imprisonment. 75 to 91. I mean, better late than never, but, it could have come earlier than that. So that's unfortunate. 91 as well, the Dave Matthews Band performed their first show as part of a benefit for the Middle East Children's Alliance in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Do you know of the Dave Matthews Band?
I've heard of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think I have, somebody way back bought me a Dave Matthews Band CD or something, or I've heard of him.
Yeah,
so,
I have not.
1991, Escondida in Chile's Atacama Desert, which was to become the world's most productive copper mine, was officially inaugurated. And this is what it looks like now. It's a giant pit mine.
Look at that.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Look at the sheer destruction we do to this planet. 1992, Soviet newspaper Pravda suspended publication. And then 1 year after that, we have the 3,000th performance of Nonsense. What is Nonsense? Is that like,
no idea.
nunchucks, is it like, nonsense, nonsense?
Nonsense to me, but
is it like,
but I don't know what it is. I have no idea.
Is it like religious nuns, nonsense, like a nun nonsense? Whoops, I didn't mean to delete that. Here, nonsense. Let me look at it. See here. Musical comedy with a book, music, and lyrics by Don Gogan. Originating as a line of greeting cards, Gogan expanded the concept into a cabaret show. What the hell? He started as cards that turned into a freaking performance. This is wild. I'm gonna add this to the underbar here.
Kind of crazy, yeah.
None. Why can't I? Essence. There we go. Can't type today. What else do we got here? 1993. Ricky Pointing hit twin tons for Tasmania at the age of 18 years, 84 days. Cricket.
No wonder I didn't understand
I had
the
to.
bit of it.
Yeah, cricketer. I was right. 94. Mexican banker and billionaire Alfredo Harp-Hilu was kidnapped. So that's not good. 94 as well. Timeline of Linux development. Linux kernel version 1.0.0 was released. 95. This was the first time 13 people were in space.
Okay.
You know it was.
That's
And
a baker's dozen.
yeah. We also have Norman Theiger became the first U.S. astronaut to ride to space on board a Russian launch vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. 97, a 68-year-old Gordie Howe signed an AHL contract with Syracuse Crunch.
What?
To play at 68?
I don't know.
I can't imagine. I mean, he's good, but he's 68. Come on.
Maybe they just used him for a name, to draw people in.
Maybe. So, 1997, the Chinese city of Qingchang, formerly Kunqing, was upgraded to a centrally administered municipality. All right. 2003, a start of weekend of protests against war in Iraq that are attended by millions. A weekend of protests. What is the war not important enough to protest during the week? Is this?
You want to get people out.
Yeah. Well, 2005, Cedar Revolution, where over 1 million Lebanese marched in the streets of Beirut to demonstrate against the Syrian military presence in Lebanon and against the government following the assassination of Prime Minister Rafik Hariri. Yeah. 2006, Mike Wallace retired from U.S. news program 60 Minutes after 37 years.
Yeah,
that was a
Mike
while.
Wallace, yeah. I watched him all every Sunday evening.
Yeah. 2006, Operation Bringing Home the Goods. Israeli troops raided a U.S.-supervised Palestinian prison in Jericho to capture 6 Palestinian prisoners, including PFLP chief Ahmed Saadat. See, once again, this I don't know how you can interpret it any other way. The U.S.-supervised Palestinian prison, they forced themselves in. We were already there. They pushed us aside, treating us like trash. They don't view us as their allies. They view us as a means to an end. At the end of the day, they're no better, than friggin' Hamas. Like what caused Hamas? Them. So, and don't forget the USS Liberty, where they fired upon our ship knowingly with their jet. Israel fired upon our ship, the USS Liberty, with their aircraft painted with Egyptian colors in an attempt to start a war between us and Egypt so they can go in and start claiming all that. I don't know why people can't get that. 2008, a series of riots, protests, and demonstrations erupted in Lhasa and subsequently spread elsewhere in Tibet. Over what, though? Money, politics? What's the riots for? 2013, Winnie the Pooh, also known as Xi Jinping, was named president of the People's Republic of West Taiwan, also known as China, fake China. So, 2016, NASA released data showing February 26th, the warmest month ever recorded globally. 1.35 degrees Celsius above the long-term average. That sounds like propaganda, but then, I look around at what's happening right now for the next week. It's March 14th. It's 70. Well, it's actually kind of nice now, 76 degrees.
Right now, but
yeah.
it was a high about 85 today.
It's been,
high 80s.
In the 90s. Yeah, high 80s, low 90s over the past, half week or so, and we still have another week.
Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, it's been like a half week.
It was so hot walking into that gym.
Oh, man.
It had to be in the mid-90s.
Yeah, it was hot. It was hot enough to where when I got out of the jacuzzi, I wasn't cold by the wind, and it was breezy, but it was so hot that the breezing wind actually didn't chill me after the jacuzzi. That's how hot it was. 2016, President Vladimir Putin ordered Russian troops out of Syria. And 1 year later, European Court of Justice ruled companies can ban staff from wearing religious symbols, including headscarves. Well, keep, religion and politics separate, church and state. 2017, and that's the problem with, the Democrats and liberals. To them, the state is the church. So now they have their religion, and their religion is all of that. So, 2017, world's oldest golf club. Are we talking about an actual club or an organization?
I believe it would be a playing golf course.
Yeah, I know. I'm being stupid.
Oh,
I already have the
I
answer.
took you serious.
The world's oldest golf club, Mirfield in Scotland, voted to admit women as members for the first time in 273 years.
Hey, there you
Took
go.
you freaking long enough. Come on, man. 2017 as well, a naming ceremony for the chemical element nihonium. It took place in Tokyo with the Crown Prince Naruhito in attendance. 2018, Angela Merkel was sworn in for the 4th term as German Chancellor, head of a coalition government 171 days after the general election. And what a stupid, airheaded, she plunged Germany into hell. Not as bad as Hitler, though, but, yeah. 2018, NASA twins study found that Scott Kelly is no longer identical to his twin brother after 1 year in space. 7% of his genes altered. Remember I talked with you about that a while ago?
Yeah.
Because up in space, like the zero gravity and you're closer, like you don't have the protection of the atmosphere and everything, or as much.
Right.
So you get more radiation and that alters your biology. So the twins are now no longer twins. That is wild.
That is really wild.
Yeah. So 2018 as well, UK announced it will expel 23 Russian diplomats after Russian-made nerve agent used on former spy in UK. We've covered that a couple of times. It killed the guy and his daughter, right? Or poisoned them.
Yeah.
At least. Maybe killed them, I don't remember.
I think they did kill him.
Yeah.
At least one of them. One of them may have survived.
Yeah. It's just sad though, that, like the guy knew what he would. He was retired, but he still knew what he was getting into. In that line of work. It's just really too bad that his daughter got caught in the crossfire and that's awful. 2018 as well, U.S. students across across the United States commemorated Florida high school shooting with mass walkouts across the country. You want to avoid a school shooting? Arm the teachers. You want to avoid a school shooting? Arm the students. Hello?
Yeah, well, you got a problem. How many accidents are going to come out of that? How some kid going to get mad and grab the teacher's gun and shoot him?
Well,
so you got problems both ways.
Well,
but they should at least have armed guards.
Something needs
at school.
Armed guards cost money that they might not have the money to do. And you can't allocate a police officer because now that costs taxpayers.
Yeah.
Something needs to be
pay for it if you have
something needs to be done. At the end of the day, by making an area gun free, you're just giving a criminal a fish in a barrel situation. No wonder it happens so often. 2018 World Happiness Report named Finland as world's happiest country and Burundi the unhappiest.
I've never heard of Burundi.
That explains why they're unhappy.
I didn't want to either.
California in 2019 officially was free of drought for the first time in more than 7 years, as of December 2011. I find that bullshit because, every freaking day, whether we're officially in a drought or not, we're always very pressured by local governments and industry to be hyper-conservative with water, with threats, of fees and, if you use X amount of water, we'll charge you more, So as long as that crap has been going on, which has been going on for my entire life, I consider we've been in a drought for 30 to 40 years without pause. So this is just bullshit. 2019 as well, Google announces employee Emma Haruko IOYO had broken the world record for calculating pi up to 31.4 trillion digits on Pi Day using Google Cloud.
Wow.
What? That's wild. We also have Tropical Cyclone Idai came ashore in Mozambique, killing at least 417 people, and Malawi killing another 56 after causing widespread flooding. In total, the floods caused, over 1,000 deaths. Wow. We also have U.S. Senate passed resolution overturning President Donald Trump's national emergency declaration, because of course they did. In 2020, longest ever scheduled passenger flight by distance was flown by Air Tahiti Nui from French Polynesia to mainland France, covering 9,765 miles or 15,715 kilometers as domestic flight due to Kung Flu. Oh, so because of all that. 2021, Myanmar opposition leader Man Win Kaling then called for a revolution. Quote, this is the darkest moment of the nation and the moment that will dawn its close, end quote, as protester death toll over 120. In Myanmar, they're having some kind of protest. 2021 as well, UK police officer charged with the death of Sarah Evergard, who disappeared walking home in South London, and whose death sparked debate about violence against women. Now, here's the thing. There's violence against males, too. How about we all unify against all violence rather than valuing a portion of humanity over the rest of it? Because every time I hear, oh, blah, blah, we got to protect the women, blah, 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 we got to protect the this, we got to protect the that. It's like, yeah, I agree, but why don't we protect all of us? Because if we're focusing our attention to one group or another, like, yeah, there might be some disproportionate, this or that, but if we focus, we're valuing their lives over others. Stop focusing, on one thing and do a sweeping generalization over all of humanity, or shut up, because because if you only care about one thing without caring about it all, then you're a hypocrite and you're just full of shit, Simple. 2021, the Burmese security forces killed at least 65 civilians in the Halinga massacre. Okay, apologize for the deaths, but I can't pronounce that word. 2022, civilians able to leave heavily bombed Ukrainian city of Mariupol for the first time amid death toll of 2,500 in the city and amid a humanitarian crisis. Yikes. 2022, Dolly Parton removed herself from the ballot for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, saying, quote, I don't feel that I have earned that right, end quote. She later reconsiders and gets in. Wow, so she tries to play I'm above this crowd while still, having her cake and eating it too.
I don't know why she wouldn't think she's done enough. I mean, she's been in
she just wanted to
history of music since I don't know.
She probably just wanted to have everybody think that she's some kind of better person for thinking. She bridged from country western, into other genres. Yeah, but a lot of people like to play those mind games,
I guess.
So, I mean, especially in her industry and all that stuff, it's all about vanity. I don't know. And she's also notoriously known to be very well endowed, for a woman. So, I don't know. 2023, Argentina's annual inflation rate passed 100% at 102.5% for the first time since hyperinflation in 91, one of the highest in the world, according to Statistics Agency. What country was the highest? What's the percentages for that? If anybody can let us know in the comments, in the comment section, that'd be great. 2023, Czech freediver David Venkel completed record dive beneath ice to 52.1 meters without a wetsuit in Switzerland's Lake Silis in temperatures between 1 Celsius and 4 Celsius, or 34 to 39 degrees, without a wetsuit. Holy crap.
I wonder how long it took him, because you can die of hypothermia.
Yeah, and that's why I'm also wondering if that's still a record. And to answer your question in a comical way, I don't think that long, because in that temperature, certain things shrink, and you'll get a lot more aqua hydro, faster through the water, without certain things dragging you down. So.
Oh God.
Hey, swimmers shave. Swimmers shave everywhere, So it's all every little bit counts.
Don't cut anything off.
Well, no, but if it's cold enough, it shrinks. So. I mean, hey, in the video game Red Dead Redemption 2, and this is real, you can look it up, the horse parts, if you have a male horse, for whatever reason in a video game, they added appropriate horse parts to that region. Depending on where you're at in the video game, if you're in a hot area or a cold area, it expands or shrinks, respectively. Why they put that into a video game is weird, but, it's crazy. So, 2023, the US, UK, and Australia unveiled details for their AUKUS deal to create a fleet of nuclear-powered submarines to be based in the Indo-Pacific region to counter Chinese military buildup. Yeah, I remember when that was going on, there was a stink. France apparently had an agreement with Australia to do that, but they just were dragging their feet and everything, and then we stepped in, and then France started doing work, but it was too late. We were like, no, screw you. It's kind of funny, how all these countries, they pride themselves, on being first world nations, but they don't really lift a finger until somebody else does.
That's happened in this war with Iran.
Yeah.
England wouldn't let us use their bases for defensive things, not even for defensive things, and then all of a sudden, after
when cells started blowing up everywhere,
we're going to send a battleship over there. We don't need one.
Yeah.
Don't send it now.
Yeah.
So same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so, I mean, you could say the same thing about France during the American Revolution.
Yeah.
They didn't come in until it was certain. Now I can understand apprehension. Britain at the time, they were the big boys. But still,
especially when you think, man, those guys have no shot over there against the Brits.
But if you if you as an individual, if you as a company, if you as a government, whatever it is that you are, if you don't back up your beliefs with actions, then you are literally worse than useless.
But didn't they send some
the
officers, French
yes,
officers
absolutely
over there
they did.
teach them how to fight and all that stuff?
I'm not sure if the government sent it or if they went on their own accord.
They may have volunteered.
But whatever the case, yes, we did have some French people like Rochambeau come over and teach us on drills and everything, so we know what we're going up against and fight in kind. Yeah. And we also learned guerrilla warfare from the French and Indian Wars. So.
But you're right, they may have volunteered.
Yeah. 2023, a U.S. large MQ-9 Reaper drone crashed into the Black Sea after collision with Russian fighter jet, with the U.S. saying that Russia forced it down, sparking an international incident. Yee. 2 years ago, at least 60 migrants died from dehydration and hunger, with 25 rescued after their dinghy engine broke down off the coast of Libya. Yeah, well, the price you pay for being a migrant, I mean, despite me, myself, wanting to leave California for the past 10 some odd years because everything's becoming hell, I still say, if you can't stand up, for your country, for your, with everything, if you're fleeing and everything, you're kind of pathetic. But at the same time, if you're fleeing an inevitability, you're not. So it's the
only shot you got.
Yeah, at the same time, if it's the only shot you got, why not spend that shot trying to make things, better, more like the way they were? You grew up there, fight for it, don't succumb.
Well,
I don't know.
You can use a good example as Cuba. I think nothing less of all the refugees that come across the water there. They had nothing else, and they didn't have the guns.
Well, see,
so they wanted to make a better life for their family. They did whatever they could.
Well, see, a really good example, and I bring it back up, the Holocaust and everything. Why didn't there were uprisings while they were in the ghettos and internment and everything, but why didn't they fight while they were being detained? If they had fought beforehand, things probably would have ended up slightly better for them.
You don't know. They just may have died.
Well, at least I'd die on my feet than live on my knees. I don't know. 2024, HMS Tiger, a sunken British warship that ran aground in 1742, was identified lying off Garden Key, Dry Tortugas National Park. Philippine police rescued over 500 people from a scam center north of Manila, forced to pose as lovers online to defraud people. Yeah. Wow. So, the 500 people were being forced.
Yeah.
So that, these online scams, man, it's really gotten bad. 2025, a severe storm system began across the U.S. South and Midwest, bringing high winds, dust storms, and more than 60 tornadoes over 2 days, killing at least 42 people. 60 tornadoes in 2 days? Yikes. 2 more articles here. This time last year, Mark Carney was sworn in as Canada's new Prime Minister, replacing Justin Trudeau after 9 years.
He's done a wonderful job.
Yeah. I don't think you're being serious. Has he? Or I don't know. I don't follow. So.
He's from the World Bank.
Oh, God. So, that's all you need to tell me.
The president of it or the head of something.
That's all you need. That's literally all you need to tell me. I already know everything. Price of gold in the New York Mercantile Exchange hit $3,000 an ounce for the first time just last year.
Yeah.
So, we've covered price of gold a couple times now.
We all thought it hit 3,000. It's going to linger around there, go to under, a little over. It just kept right on going up to 4.
Yep. And that shall conclude the show for today. Once again, please check the underbar of the description for any links that you may find interesting, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. A lot of history has and continues to be made on a daily basis. We can only bring you a portion, between 2 sources. I only cover, 30, 40%? 40% is probably a little high. But I cover a decent amount of all this, but, not anywhere near half. I don't think.
Well, an hour show,
yeah.
Look how much there's there.
Yeah, so I implore you, please check our links and continue your, education, your self-education path and all that stuff. For all of you and all of us, I'm Xander.
Golden Loon.
And you are you until you catch us next time, whenever that is, wherever that is. Don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles! Where's the thing? There's the thing.
Let it run a bit.
Yeah, I did.